We are back live. The Audi still run 1, 2, 3. We have a fierce battle, which we hope to bring you pictures of in just a few moments, of the Chrysler battle, the Viper versus the Corvette. They are running within a second of each other. This is the leading car. Alan McNish just jumped out. Ortelli is in it. Calvin mentioned earlier on that Ortelli, Laurent Aiello, and Alan McNish are known as the three amigos because they teamed up in the Porsche and won this back in 1998. And what a great idea it was to put them back together because they rely on each other so much. They have different strengths. McNish is always good in qualifying. The other boys are good in the races. You see Chris Nightfall, you can't miss Chris, gets himself out of one of the Corvettes.
Those three guys in that Audi, if you put them end to end, don't come to more than about 7'6". You should call them the Three Musketeers.
They are all the same size, though, which makes it easier for them to...
But they're all minute.
You saw how quickly McNish got out of that car. Incidentally, you see the headlights on the cars right now. That is not because it is growing dark. It's 6:30 here in France. The shadows are long, yes, but we're at least 3 hours from any serious darkness. We're very, very far to the north here in the summer, close to the longest day of the year. It won't be really dark until after 10 o'clock.
And, of course, we're right on the western edge of the time zone, so we get an incredibly extended evening here. And these guys, of course, up the lead here, the front guys want people to know they're coming when hopefully they might look in the mirror every now and then.
Actually, this is a track in which it's easy to look in the mirror. There are a lot of long straightaways where you really ought to be able to check your mirror. But people, for some reason, become kind of fixated by the speed and don't do as good a job as they should. And it's very, very dangerous when someone moves over on somebody else. In fact, it happened years ago, right in here. A car moved over on Joe Bonnier. And Bonnier was driving, remember that red Lola?
Right.
He got off the road and scythed through the trees and was killed instantly. And that was a situation of a car moving over who never saw him.
After 35 laps and 2.5 hours, the top three cars are still within 45 seconds of one another. David Brabham, the car that he led off in, is still in fourth, and the Lola fifth. Another Panoz is in sixth. Hour one of this year's Le Mans 24-hour race, uneventful start. You see the Audis 1, 2, 3 ahead of David Brabham in the red Panoz that gave good chase. The Lola from Olive Garden. Right behind him, the chase over the top of the Dunlop Bridge. Everything was reasonably sane on that first lap, David, but that soon changed.
There was a terrific battle going on for 4th, 5th and 6th. The Courage leading it. Spins going through the first chicane and was miraculously missed by everybody.
Here's the bonfire. This is one of the DAMS Cadillacs. It is an oil fire. You see it set fire to the ground, but this car was burned to the ground. As you can see, will never take part in anything again. Because a fire like that destroys the carbon fiber, even if you do manage to clean it up. Hour two came, and still more lowlights or more problems. David Brabham is now leading at this stage, held off Alan McNish for, a good 3 or 4 laps, and then the drag race in the braking zone down to the first chicane. McNish goes down the inside of the Panoz.
Now Barretto lurking there, then Eric van der Poel gets into the Cadillac, hits his own front wheel there, parked, then has a duel down the pit lane with the 63 car also leaving the pits. But only half a lap later, this is what happened.
Eric van der Poel, a record of crashing cars here at Le Mans with cold tires, as David points out, adds to that list. But he was able to struggle around to the pits, and they fixed it up, and he's back in business. The amazing thing is, we're only 21 and a half hours left to go.
Yeah, we've had great highlights or lowlights, even at this early stage. But they did fix that Cadillac. He is back out. So we have 3 of 4 Cadillacs running. Wayne Taylor was in a lot of trouble earlier on during an extended full course yellow in his Cadillac with a wheel out of balance. This is Jan Magnussen.
And boy, is he flying. The Panoz continues to just give tremendous account of itself. Well,
Chris Nightfall just got out of the Corvette, and he's with Calvin.
Chris, first time at Le Mans. What are your impressions on your first laps out there in race conditions?
It was fantastic. The couple problems with just big oil on the track and a crash in portion curves, but came down to a good Corvette Viper battle right there with Beretta and myself. I caught the 52 car, and he really checked me up through some of the full course, or not, but the large caution areas, and let Olivier catch me. And I said, all right. When Beretta passed, I said, I'm going with him, and it was nice to do battle there for a few laps. And, you know, even though we weren't running qualifying speeds, it was nice to at least go tit for tat with him. And, you know, he's a champion here, so it feels great.
So it was tough coming here for the first time with very limited mileage. I know it's tough to get all three guys through the car over the course of the weekend. So is it nice to get into a rhythm in race conditions?
Oh, it's fantastic to have a really good stint the first time out, because it just builds my confidence sky high. And, you know, the Corvette, we're going to have a great day here.
We look forward to watching it, mate.
Thanks, Hal.
Chris Nightfall, 39 years of age. You remember what he said earlier? It's an honor for him to be here with General Motors. This is a big effort here.
Well, it's
for
terrific to see
Motors.
him driving, Derek, because he is 6'6", 6'7". He's an enormously tall man, not easily fitted into an average racing car.
And remember, he ran the Indianapolis 500 at 23 years of age, but just delighted to be here at his very first Le Mans. So he was the one who gave chase to the Viper. And remember what he said there. We watched it on the scoring monitor here. He ran him down right up behind him and then got into a real dust-up. So that'll be interesting to watch that American muscle car battle continue as the hours unfold here.
The number 12, Panoz, currently lying in 5th position. Panoz is lying 4th and 5th, really making a pretty good show for themselves this afternoon. Somebody stalled in pit lane.
This is the second
that is
blocking.
Well, remember, this is the Chrysler. You know what?
Was he been stopped there?
Yeah, they stop him. They actually tell him when he can go. This is one of the Chrysler development cars.
Yeah,
and this is one of the Vipers changing. David Donahue getting in. He was just up here with us. He grew a little nervous. He said, I'm next up. And we said, you better get out of here. It's tricky to get one man out and another man in, get everything connected up.
That is Anthony Peltois, who's helping him get in as you watch our Speed Vision logo here. This, I believe, is the Conrad car that Tommy Kendall is part of, another guest we had earlier on. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Le Mans 24-hour race. Live here on Speed Vision. Derek Daly, Sam Posey, David Hobbs in the booth. We have Dorsey Schrader and Calvin Fish running up and down the pit lane here. It is a hotter day than we've seen at Le Mans for many, many, many years. As you take a look at Johnny O'Connell in the second of the Panoz cars, the number 12 car. Johnny just got in about 10 minutes ago, expected to do at least a double stint. The Audi boys did a triple stint. Animal Michele Alboreto is on a quadruple stint. He elected to stay in, not change tires. That vaulted him into the lead ahead of the number 7 car.
Michele, remember, is 43 years old. He's the oldest member of the squad there driving the Audis. Former Grand Prix winner, great Grand Prix star, supposedly in the autumn of his career, and suddenly he turns up the Iron Man, nerves of steel, Michele Alboreto.
Now, we had a good chat with Chris Nightfall earlier. It's interesting that he was able to run down and catch the Viper. The Viper, we believe, is on a certain pace. But Calvin, do you know something more?
Yes, I do, Derek. I just spoke to Hugh de Schornack and I said, how do you expect the pace to change through the course of these 24 hours? He said, well, we anticipated that the vet would be very strong. Right now, this was the race pace that we preset, and at midnight tonight, we will then determine if we need to reduce the lap time. So they obviously have a lot in hand, and they may want to be seeing if they can actually pull out an advantage in case they hit any problems further through the event.
You know, Derek, that is interesting stuff that Calvin's getting at, because every team obviously has to elect a strategy, a way of going about running this 24 hours. If you just went flat out the whole way, you probably break the cars. Oops. We've had a serious...
Now, those cars are definitely broken.
Broken.
Yeah.
Again, 2 911s.
Strategy no longer applies, I would say, to these.
Wow.
Whoa, this is not good. They've taken pretty hard
Is that
hits.
going into Tetra Rouge?
Yes, it is.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
Down to Ted
Yes.
Rouge. Second gear right-hander.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy.
2 911s just absolutely clouded
And of
each
course,
other.
this is the sort of thing that can drag somebody else in, run over some debris, and pick up a puncture, which...
There's the debris flying.
There's some debris flying there. Let go, going down that Mulsanne straight into one of those chicanes. Could find himself in a lot of trouble.
Can't quite see the numbers here. Now,
That's not Tommy Kendall's car on the left, is it?
One of the course workers just fell. There's probably oil under the car on the right. This is more dangerous than it looks because you don't see this well as you approach. You see there's a car coming very, very fast. One of the
hard to
Audi.
see the numbers. Hard to see the numbers. These are world feed pictures coming to us from French television. But we presume it is two cars. There's in the GT car.
There's one of the drivers, obviously. Fine shape. We think this is just before Tertrude, which is that turn just after the right-hand S. The second part of the S is a little bend to the right.
And when you get two cars, David, to get tangled up like that, inevitably one didn't see the other.
Absolutely, yeah.
When you exit corners like that.
Probably this will produce the pace car.
I don't know. This is an 8.5-mile lap, remember, so they have a long time to try and clean this thing up if they can localize it, slow everybody down.
They could do with a few cranes here like they have at Monte Carlo, that Monaco Grand Prix a couple of weeks ago on Speed Vision. I couldn't believe the way they got those damaged cars out of the way in a heartbeat on the end of those cranes.
Number 78.
Here is the space car.
Angelo Zadra, we believe, is one of the cars. We believe the other one might be the 77 car, the Larbra Motorsports entry. Bouchou was in that.
Ooh, fast car too.
Yeah, fast car, and expected to run very well in that GT class.
Damage through that class, which we thought would, the GT class, we thought we'd see that. A majority of those cars run the full distance, no problem. Now
That was the
suddenly
pole
3 or 4
sitting
are
car,
out.
that's 77.
And Butch Leitzinger takes the opportunity to bring the Cadillac in. It does not appear that they will have a driver change. So Butch gets some fresh air by lifting up the visor. This is the Cadillac number 1. Calvin?
Well, Butch is in. Actually, on the last pit stop, they almost ran him out of gas. There's lost radio communication. The crew stood by with a spare crash helmet in case it was in there. But Butch actually fixed the problem inside the car himself. He reconnected it. Wrangler Gorse was at the front of the car. Butch said everything feels okay. No tire change, just fuel, and he's back on course.
That was a quick pit stop.
Good boy,
That was
Butch.
just fuel, but it was quick.
Good boy, Butch. You fix that car yourself. Don't bother waiting for those mechanics. But Butch Leitzinger, champion in many things in the U.S., particularly sports cars, tried the Busch Grand National at one stage, ran very, very well, but elected to stay with road racing. We're back, and the Animal Alboreto finally climbs out. Almost did a quadruple stint. Christian Abt has jumped in. Calvin?
Quick stop by the number 9 car, Ortelli. No tire change and no driver change there, so just a splash of gas filling him up. 7 cars now been taken over by Ronaldo Capello, and Michele Alboreto has gone to the back of the garage, obviously for a rest, but we will try and catch up with him shortly, guys.
It was actually Christian Abt, I believe, that jumped into that number 7 car, Ortelli, because they did not do a tire change. Unlike Alboreto's car, has now got themselves back into the lead again. So the number 9 car that led most of the time with McNish, the next time it comes around for scoring, will be back in the lead again.
Taking a look here at the
flapping tape. This is the Maxwell car, or the LMP 675 class. This is all Canadian.
Here's
Maxwell, Graham, and Wilkins. It's a Lola. It's got a Nissan engine in it. Multimatic Motorsports from Canada.
Here's the garage that spun early in the game.
Cato. That was actually an earlier shot because Cato was no longer in that car.
Exactly. That is the O'Connell. Raffinell.
Frank Biela makes a pass on car number 73. That is the Team Tasson Advan car. Fukuyama, Yogo, and Lambert are the drivers in that. This is the Courage car, number 16.
With Peugeot power.
Pescarolo Sport, of course, Henri Pescarolo, one of the most successful men here. No longer a driver here. Calvin, you got the animal of the race so far.
Yes, he is the animal in the race so far. Michele, 4 stints. How's the car feeling?
Oh, the car is fantastic. The driver maybe is a little bit too old for this, but as you say, the animal is still there, so I'm very happy. The car is really beautiful to drive. It's still a long race, but it's the easy 24 hours of Le Mans that I never made.
You've won the race before with Yost. Does the car have the same type of feel? You can kind of tell early in a 24-hour if the car's at ease with the racetrack and you're not pushing it too hard.
The feeling is the same, except that everything is shorter because this car is much quicker. Every straight lane is much shorter, and it's really nice to drive this car. It's like in a Formula 1 with the bodyworks.
Your nickname, the animal, is given to you up top by an old friend of yours, Derek Daly.
Yeah, I say hello to him. Hello. Hi, Derek. And yeah, I don't know, I feel good, and we prepared this race very, very hard with Audi and all my teammates, so we have to make this job.
Okay, great job out there.
Thank you.
We raced together many years in Formula 2 and then in Formula 1. He actually threatened to do serious bodily harm to me one day at the Dutch Grand Prix in 1980. I think he remembers the incident quite well. He was in a Tyrrell, I was in a Williams.
And what did you do? Run as fast as you can the other way?
Yeah, I got the protection of all the Williams mechanics on that day.
Very smart.
Yeah.
I think an angered animal would not be something I'd want to see.
Yeah.
Peter Revson came after me in the Riverside Trans Am.
Wow, not surprised either.
Got me in the pit lane around the neck, and I thought I was going to be throttled to death right there. Look at this.
Ah, this is not good. The number 20 car. This is the Conrad Motorsports car. This is the Racing for Holland car. Jan Lammers. Oh, is that a suspension? Yeah, left rear suspension, David, broke.
Went right there.
Oh, wheel came off.
Tom Coronel, that must have been after a pit stop. Peter Cox and Jan Lammers. Star-studded entry here, this car is. You're in all sorts of trouble now, boys. Can they get that thing back?
Well, they're not allowed to push it beyond a certain... Dorsey, I know you're down there with the Olive Garden group. What about that car? I mean, what could have happened?
Well, Sam, I'll tell you, they're having trouble on the Olive Garden car, too. And this last pit stop, when it came in, everything looked routine, and all of a sudden they came with a pressurized oil canister. To add oil to a car this early in the race is kind of unheard of. Then shortly after that, the oil tank exploded. All the oil went all over the ground, and we don't know how much went in the engine. In the meantime, the drivers reported in trouble in the engine compartment. They're down 30 kilometers per hour in the straightaway, and they don't know why.
Well, Dorsey, they have a new device here at Le Mans for drivers that have spun out. They take them up to the top of this ride to sober them up a little bit as a punishment. They show us that shot, and then they never show it being released. It's a huge tease.
So the Cadillac STSI, that is much in evidence here this weekend. This is the Cunningham edition. There is the driver test. When you don't do your job properly, they take you up here.
Yeah.
And they ask you, are you ready?
This test is a test for Audi mechanics. You see the Audi logo.
Let's have a look at this here. This is a major thrill.
Audi has tried everything.
Horrible to me.
Watch what happens here.
Search for better and better men. This is part of their testing procedure.
Everybody's real cool when they get to the top. They have a great view. And suddenly, their heart
This
goes
is when
right
you
up
hope
into
you
their
didn't eat
mouth.
one of those sausages.
Come on, boys. Let them go. Let them go.
The sausages are very good here, guys, and the crepe Suzette. But this is not the moment to have taken a lot of that on board moments ago. The crepe Suzette particularly does not descend very well. It kind of stays up there.
When you walk through the village here, there is a complete village here of vendors all the way down through the paddock, and you can smell something French cooking every minute of the day, because this place came alive last Tuesday. We can't wait any longer for the excitement there, but Johnny O'Connell brings the Panoz on. This is the Pirelli shot Panoz car as they still clean up the garbage. Don't go away. We'll be right back. We're back live. We are under full course yellow yet again. We have had a serious incident. 2 of the GT Porsche 911s right before the Tetra Rouge corner tripped over each other. It has given a golden opportunity for many of the front runners to get into the pits and do driver changes, as we saw with Alboreto and with Christian Abt. But we also saw a major problem for the Racing for Holland car, Jan Lammers, Tom Cornell and Peter Cox, without a wheel. Do we have an update, Calvin?
Yeah, I do. Franz Kahnrad was actually on the cell phone, I believe, to the driver. We're going to try and get a word with him. They then pull the map out of the race circuit. Let's try and get a word with Franz. Franz, what is the problem?
We lost the rear wheel, and we don't know why. It's in a heat lap, and he has no more drive, so I think he cannot bring back the car.
Were you on the phone to the driver?
Yes, we were on the phone with the driver. He explained the situation, so it looks bad in a moment.
Okay, best of luck, mate.
We are going to be away, of course, for the Canadian Grand Prix qualifying shortly, an hour and a half. Please keep the emails coming. The reason we haven't responded to them lately, last few minutes, is a combination of the excitement on the track and the fact that David and I, frankly, are stumped by some of the questions.
All the questions are
very, very difficult questions.
Yeah,
we will be rehearsing.
But keep them coming. www.speedvision.com, and we get the emails right here in our booth live at the Le Mans 24-hour race. Now, right after the qualifying for the Canadian Grand Prix, come right back here live again to Le Mans. Greg Kramer, Alan DeCadney and Danny Sullivan will be here in the booth. And down in the pits, we will have Andrew Marriott, Steve Evans, and Guy Hobbs. So remember, all the way through the night, you will see this crew, David Hobbs, Sam Posey, and myself, Derek Daly, Calvin Fish, and Dorsey Schrader, back in just about 5.5 hours, 12:30 local time here. So we drew the midnight shift, 12:30 to 3:30. So we're going to bring you all the action live all the way through the night here from the Le Mans 24-hour race as Jan Magnussen takes the fastest of the Panoz cars, currently running in 4th place behind the 3 Audis, back onto the racetrack to start his second double stint.
So far, the Panoses are running very smoothly. Smoother than at this point last year, David.
I mean, they're 2 minutes and 36 seconds down after 3 hours of racing, which is nothing. Here at Le Mans, they're still on the same lap as the leader, which is pretty good.
And a quick update, we have lost one Cadillac to a huge fire. We've had another Cadillac crash into the barrier. They got it fixed. He is back running again. David Brabham led very strongly initially before the 3 Audis went 1, 2, 3 again. We've had many incidents, a lot of driver mistakes, particularly on cold tires. This is Philippe Gache. So already in a race that is 24 hours long, we are seeing cars, many cars in the barriers, many incidents in all 3 different classes. But the hotly contested class is the Chrysler Vipers versus the Chevrolet Corvettes. It is hot and it is heavy here at Le Mans. So as we leave you to go live to qualifying for the Canadian Grand Prix, we see so long, but an hour and a half later, come right back live to Southwest France and to Le Mans.
Moves through the long summer twilight into a night filled with whirling lights. It reaches halfway at dawn. Finally, after a long morning, the afternoon comes round once more, and the full day's cycle is complete. It is the great race whose name joins time with place, the 24 hours of Le Mans. To race here is to be drawn into a maelstrom of speed, spiraling around the track as if geared invisibly to the finish line clock. It is a world of calculation and of nerve, of careful engineering, and moments when everything goes wrong.
In the short run of hours since the beginning of this year 2000 Le Mans, all those elements have indeed come into play. High hopes for Audi, and they have led comfortably. For Cadillac, high hopes as well. Problems have befallen that team, both on track and in the pits. And to win this great race, sometimes you need a break when something does go wrong. For Audi, that may have come already right here. beautiful, sun-drenched Circuit de la Sarthe for this year 2000 running of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. I am Greg Kramer, joined in the booth now by Alain Decadney, Danny Sullivan. Also down in the pits will be Andrew Marriott and Guy Hobbs. We are 4.5 hours now into this legendary event, and the racing has been quite superb. We're going to take a look now at the class leaders. Overall, it remains the Audis. However, they've had a bit of a time of it, but the number 9 Audi, even with that spin by Stefano Telli, continues to lead. In the GTS division, 15th overall is, of course, the Viper team, and they are 15th, 16th, and 17th overall, but 18th, right with them, is the number 63 Corvette, all on the same lap. In the GT division, the number 83 Dick Barber GT Porsche leads comfortably now by about 3 laps, which is a bit of a surprise over the number 73 entry. That is the Team Tyson Advan entry, and the number 81 of Habither Racing. And gentlemen, the first thing of note is Audi leads, but they have had their moments, as we suspected could happen.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I have not known this race take such different changes so quickly on. The track conditions are obviously pretty terrible. People have been spinning off left, right and centre. I think the Audi number 9 spin-off and the clouting of the guardrail just shows what a fabulously strong body that's got, made out of Kevlar. He bounced back in the middle of the road. I would have sworn blind that he'd got problems with that car. He didn't even trouble to come in on the first lap. He just went straight by, and then he pitted. Don't you think so, Danny?
I do, but I think some of the things, the pits obviously told him, we are not ready for you. Stay out as long as you don't have a major problem, because they have to get prepared to get everything there in case they have to change something. I would like to make a comment, though, about the track condition, because everybody's been saying it's slick. We heard earlier from Alan McNish when he got out of the car that the track was slippery. Let's not forget, it has been hot for the last couple of days. They practiced Wednesday and Thursday. What a lot of people don't realize is on Friday, they opened this track up to the public because it is a public road. And they drive up and down that thing, motorcycles, cars, trucks, everything. And again, it was hot again today. They've had no chance to clean this place up like with the good rain which we typically get here.
Well, we've talked about Audi. Well, let's find out from the Audi pits. Andrew Marriott is there. Andrew?
I certainly am, and I'm with Dr. Ulrich. Wolfgang, it's going very, very well for you.
Until now, everything is running smooth. We have already the second problem now with slow puncture on the tires. This is at the moment the problem we have. There is a lot of gravel and there's a lot of pieces from other cars, from accidents on the track. And so nearly all the tires, when the cars come back, have small punctures and small cuts on them.
That's Dr. Ulrich, worried about the punctures. Guy Hobbs, to you. Thanks, Andrew. I'm down in the Cadillac pit with Andy Wallace. Andy's actually trying to get ready to get into the car. He will be going in next. Frank is in right now. But problems at this point, Andy. Rumored originally that it was pickup, but it's actually not pickup. You're not getting the fuel in the vehicle.
Well, the Cadillac's actually running really well at the moment. There's nothing wrong with the car itself. It's just we can't either get all the fuel in or the fuel tanks, for some reason, got smaller. We did 3 pump-out tests last night, and we had a full 23.7 gallon tank. And now we've only got about 19 gallons. So it means we have to stop early. This, of course, is going to lose us a bit of time, but the car's running so strongly, we're still in with a shout.
Now, you've been running double stints on the tyre so far, but now the temperature's gone down, and because of this problem, you're going to go to triple stints?
Well, because we've got to take a couple of laps off each stint, they are shorter, so we're going to be doing 3 stints now. Frank is actually in for the 3rd of his 3 stints, and Bush did 3 before that, so we're just going to work it like that.
And how much harder is it going to get for you to have to, you never really get into your rhythm because you've got to keep coming back into the pit?
Well, it doesn't sound very long, but you're still pedaling away for quite a long time. So no, it's okay to get in a rhythm. It's just annoying that we can't go the full distance. But as I say, the Cadillac's running so strongly at the moment. I'm very, very happy with the way it is. Everything's working like clockwork at the moment, and the handling's perfect. So we're very happy.
All right, Andy, good luck to you. We'll keep a close eye on the Cadillac and you. You're getting in any minute now, right?
As soon as he comes back in, I'm in.
All right, that's Andy Wallace down in the Cadillac pit.
Thank you very much, Guy. We're looking at the number 2, the sister car. That car had a vibration earlier. They've been chasing that. It seems to be much better. But Danny, as we take a look now at the Panoz stopping in pit lane, it's because of a puncture on the number 8 Audi that car now is up in the top 3.
That is true, and one of the other Panozers have had a puncture as well. We've seen a couple of those over the course of
The puncture is very critical. I've got experience with that. We're leading here with a Porsche, and I got a puncture just past the entrance to the pits. Had to go the entire 8.5 miles at about 20 miles an hour and lost 4 laps. So those punctures, where they happen, can really dictate a lot of the outcome of this race.
That's certainly what hurt the number 8 Audi. As you look, folks, you see a first time at this Le Mans, Mario Andretti, the legend, is crawling behind the wheel of the Panoz, and that car, again, quite well placed, and that's a nice piece of news for Mario to be able to get into a car, Alan, that sits in the top 3.
Well, that's definitely the way they planned it. I mean, it's actually on the same lap as the 2 leading cars. They've driven that car very well, very sensibly. I mean, David Brabham knows it. It's like a glove to him. He's strapped that car on so many times. And wait a minute, we got a problem coming up here.
Somebody's going slow down there. That's why the white flag is out. It looks like one of the Cadillacs, and he looks like he's got a puncture.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot more punctures here. I mean,
you see that little the right rear's dropped down. He's wiggling around. That's definitely a puncture. Now, I will tell you one thing. The advantage from television is the pits are watching that feed, and they can tell him slow down because he can't obviously see what's wrong at the back of the car.
That was Frank Lagorce in the Caddy. Now Mario Andretti in the number 11 Panoz makes his way onto the track. He got a quick stall as he was leaving the pits, perhaps to be expected after not having been in the car at all. But Mario Andretti is back underway at Le Mans, and Frank Lagorce brings the number 1 Caddy, sitting in the 8th position, Andrew, down into the pits.
Yeah, well, we've got the 2 Audis expected to come in very close together. In fact, the number 9 car is there. It seems to be a routine stop. Emanuele Pirro stays in the car. They are not going to change the drivers here. So, in fact, I should say Laurent Aiello, it's all pretty calm and collected. You heard Dr. Ulrich saying that they have had problems with the tyres, but they are not changing any wheels here. Meanwhile, the crew for the number 7 car are also waiting. Dindo Capello out in the pit road there, waiting to jump into the car. So obviously it's going to be a change there. And the car now coming straight at me. The boards are held up. In fact, the number 9 car rushes out before the 7 car actually arrives. And this is all timed like clockwork because right now the 7 car comes in. Christian Abt is at the wheel, hits the board just by about an inch. He goes in too deep. Dindo Capello is already in the cockpit. Stan slides down into that cockpit. Dindo's got one of those little Elastoplast straps over his nose to keep his breathing good. Christian Abt, meanwhile, seemed happy enough with his stint, because Christian really is much less experienced than all these other guys at this kind of racing, mainly a touring car racer. But this looks a cool, calm Audi pit stop, just as you expect from the Yost team. The car now up in its jacks, and this one is actually changing. 1, 2, 3, 4 wheels. And Guy Hobbs, you've got some stories down there. Yeah, well, we're in the Cadillac pit where they are making the driver change, but on top of that, they've got a completely flat and ruined right rear, which has ripped up all the bodywork on the right-hand side. This car has made 2 pit stops already since I've been down here in the pits. It's under 8 minutes. The driver was just getting in. The team leader told him to get out of the car. It's going to be here a while they make some really serious repairs, particularly to the right side of the car, which is all torn up. Send it back up to you guys.
All right, well, a very busy pit lane. And by the way, Dindo Capello, the driver who is getting on board that number 7 Audi, 36 years old today. What a great way to spend a birthday. We'll be right back. The number 1 Cadillac has been pushed behind and into the garage where they're working feverishly in the back of the car. And pitted in 8th, it's already down to 11th. And of course, a flailing tire like that can cause some serious damage. Apparently that's the case.
Huge amount of damage. You can't believe how slow you have to go. Alan, you've done it before. When you've been running around 200 miles an hour, to go at 20 miles an hour, you think the car's parked.
Yeah, that's the problem. You're a racing driver. You want to get on and have a race, and you're being told to drive around nice and slowly in first gear because all that tread flailing around in there can take out wishbones and certainly take out the bodywork. So the object is to get the car back to the pits. And the reason why this Cadillac is being worked on inside its garage, of course, is because they can then put, as you can see, as many people on this car to get it right as they want to. If the car stays outside, of course, you're stuck with just 3 people, but this way they can all get on it, and hopefully when they repair it, which they will, and it gets back out there, it won't have done any serious damage. But I can see here they're changing what look to me very much like they're not exhaust pipes, those are
radiator pipes, weren't they?
Or turbo pipes,
or
maybe.
Turbo pipes,
yeah,
but,
they weren't exhaust, they had rubber tubing on them. But this is where, of course, your men really come into their own. These guys will do about a whole week's work on this car in a matter of minutes and have it back out. That's the most wonderful thing about this race. It's a great shame that this Cadillac has to come in and have this work done, but they'll get it done. They'll get it back out there, and we'll see a great example of what trained men can do when they're pushed.
Yeah, you can see some of the components trailing behind the car. Now, of course, earlier we mentioned that the Audi, one of them had suffered this similar type of problem, but the number 7 Audi is the only one that's been without incident. Young Christian Abt was in the car. Now it's Ronaldo Capello, and Christian Abt is with Andrew.
Yes, Christian's here with me. Track conditions are very tricky, aren't they, Christian? A lot of debris out on the track. What's the track like?
At the moment, is the track very dirt. And my lap time was the beginning very good, but in the middle was the lap time bad. And I think this is the tires, and I think it's better when didn't go in the car, and then we change.
But Christian, you've got your own team racing in the DTM, and they're racing this weekend, and you could have been racing there. Are you happier to be at Le Mans than racing in the DTM this weekend?
Yeah. Normally, I have in Le Mans a car, I can win this race. And I think it's better when I drive the Le Mans before I drive the DTM. The car in the DTM is in the moment not so quick, but we work on this car, and my team did all what he can. And I think in Norrising is the car very quick, I hope. But at the moment, it's for me the first point this race. And I hope Audi can win this race.
Yeah, well, Guy Hobbs, I think, is down there with Cadillac. Guy.
I'm in the Cadillac garage where they are working feverishly on the right-hand side of the car. Frank has got out of the car. Frank, tell us what happened.
I've exploded the rear right tires on the straight line end at nearly 190 miles per hour. But the most difficult is to be stay straight. But after I come back, kindly, but also quickly, because it's necessary to come back here for repair the car. But now we have some damage on the car, and I hope it's okay for repair as soon as possible.
Obviously a huge disappointment. It must have been a huge scare for you.
Yes, because I have very good rhythm on the track, and we come back in the race, and the car is fantastic to drive. We have a very good balance on the car, but and now it's we restart to 0, but it's a race.
Any reason for the explosion? Do you know, was it debris or was it tire wear?
No, I don't know why we explode. I haven't flat on the tires, no puncture before. It exploded directly, I don't know why.
All right, Frank, good luck to you, and we'll keep a close eye on you. Sorry about the bad news. His teammate Andy Wallace continues to sit in the seat, getting ready, had his helmet on still, and actually now Andy has just decided to take his helmet off and go to the back of the room.
Well, it looked like they were putting the wing back on, so we'd expect that car perhaps to be out fairly soon. And Christian Abt, make no mistake, he is on the phone constantly with his brother, the DTM team's team manager, to find out just how everything's unfolding for that Audi team at the race this weekend. So Christian Abt very involved, whether it's here or at the DTM event. The number 16 machine, that's one of the garages powered by the Peugeot from Andre Pescarolo's camp in the pits. We'll be right back.
Baby, over 200 miles an hour down the Mulsanne Straight, and where my wife Sandy and I are standing doesn't cost us a dime. Remember, the Mulsanne is National Road 138, and outside the racetrack where we are is a couple of little inns and hotels where you can watch the cars for nothing, and you can also have something to eat, huh? How about it?
How about it? Let's go have something.
Just order me something. Order me a... Oh, that Panoz sound good. Just give me a steak.
Oh, I don't think so. You've had one 2 nights in a row. I think some nice fish and vegetables would be good.
With pommes frites?
No pommes frites.
You go have a glass of wine. I'll be right in. You know, why do you think hot rodders always hang out at hamburger joints, fast food and fast cars? Whoa, just go together.
You get the feeling Steve's enjoying his first visit to Le Mans? I believe so.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, he was very excited about coming here before he got here, and now he's here. He's not only enjoying himself at this race, but he's also going to go on elsewhere down the Loire Valley. And everybody watching this show, if you want to do what Steve's doing, you should turn up here too. I promise you'll have a really, really good time. And coming to Europe, make sure you take the more in.
especially if you enjoy weather like we're experiencing here. You had a momentary look there at the number 32. That's the Multimatic Motorsport Lola Nissan, the all-Canadian team. Scott Maxwell, John Graham, Greg Wilkins. This car, however, is the car that currently sits second in the Le Mans GTS category, 16th overall. The number 51 Oreca Team Viper entry. Dominique Dupy and Olivier Bretta. Carl Vedlinger was the driver who put the car on pole. And they've really just been swapping positions with their sister car number 52 on and off, basically around the pit stops.
Yeah, it's still early days for them. I mean, this race is not five hours old yet, so they know what kind of bogey times they can run in, though, because these cars have run here before. This is the big advantage that the Chrysler Viper really has over the Corvette. They've been here before several times. They know what good bogey times are. They've got their fuel consumption down to a T, so they can afford really to play it a bit cool. And as we said, it's early days yet.
Very quick stop. You'd expect nothing less from Team Viper Oreca, who have just dominated GT endurance racing for so long. Now, one of the things, of course, that really can play a major role in this type of racing is tires. And, Guy, I understand you've got Wayne Taylor there.
Well, Wayne Taylor is with me. He's about to get into his car right now and just being stepped away very quickly there. And as we mentioned, with the teammate having troubles, I asked Wayne if they're still doing triple stints. He's now talking to the Pirelli competition man. Across the P0 Rossa will try and get a word with Wayne as he just stepped away. Wayne is actually about 3 laps away from going out. Wayne, you're about to go back out in a few laps again, but are you concerned with the tires?
Yeah, we are a little concerned because we just lost a tire. And in the 4 years I've been with Pirelli, we've never lost a tire. So I really don't know what's going on. I've just got here and I see a tire exploded. But I mean, they're professional. I'm sure that they'll check everything before we go out.
Are you going to try and do a triple stint, or are you going to try and to see how it goes?
I'll just get a feel when I'm in the middle of the second stint to decide. I mean, I'm not sure. If they were triple stinting, maybe that was the reason. I don't know.
All right, well, we'll give you a chance to get ready and put your helmet on. Good luck to you, Wayne. Thank you.
All right, well, Wayne Taylor early in the race had a series of stops very quickly, and we understand they were trying to chase a vibration on the car, so I mean that might be part of it.
And he also said that one of the tires early on had slipped on the rim, and of course once it slipped on the rim or wheel, where the balance point is, it changes the balance of the car. They only have to be a couple ounces, they go out, and it really does give a vibration, particularly at that speed. The only thing that I would say is his comment there about, you know, the Pirelli, they haven't lost a tire. That is true. I don't think that this is an indigenous thing to the Pirelli, because as we've seen, the Michelin on the Audi has lost a tire already. We've had some of the Porsches lose tires as well. I just think the track is dirty. There's a lot of debris out there. This is often the case at Le Mans. We got to remember, it is still a public road.
Yeah, also, I think the other thing that we mustn't forget is that we've had the pace car out for a long time. Now, these hot, sticky tires have a terrible build-up of debris that clings to them at regular road speeds. You get up to racing speed, it clears up. Now, of course, that lends itself to punctures as well. And the other thing we've got here is the heat. We haven't had a hot one for this long since, what, maybe since 1976?
I don't know, in 94 when I raced here, it was pretty warm. It wasn't this hot, but it was warm. And I think what we're going to see, if you're looking at the timing on the board, the times have really dropped off quite dramatically by 6 seconds or so on the lead Audis. Okay, everybody's dropped down. But as the sun goes down and the temperature drops, you'll see the tires drop. The engines will enjoy it more. It'll get cool, a little bit more downforce, better with the tires.
And speaking of the sun going down, there it is. Remember, the reason for all those pace car laps were a lot of incidents that sprayed debris all over the track. I think we're seeing the effects of that. We'll be right back.